Good to see you. Thank you. Last week was a good one.
What are you yelling at? I think it's the goddamn screen.
Well, thank you.
I'll see you later.
Good job. Thank you.
All right. We're going to continue our media availabilities this morning now with Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tools Chevrolet in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Jimmie's our most recent winner, winning the Coke 600 last week. He has 8 victories here at Dover International Speedway. Talk a little bit about coming to into this weekend and your expectations for the race.
Yeah, just looking to expand on great performance last weekend. We're coming to my favorite racetrack, and by the stats, probably our best track as well. So excited to be here. Looking forward to getting on the racetrack and seeing how this new rules package works here. And over the years, we've been able to adapt to a variety of generations of car, and hopefully we can adapt quickly to what's needed here and what the setup needs to be to get around the monster once again. And look forward to the race on Sunday.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions for Jimmie. Please state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Jeff Gluck and go to Jeff Hood.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Can you hear me? Yeah? Hello? No? Yeah, you can't hear me? No?
I can hear you enough, bud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in this weird stretch of the schedule where only one out of the next 12 races is a mile-and-a-half track, where that's kind of obviously unusual because it seems like most of the races are mile-and-a-half track races. How do you view that as far as guys who haven't won yet this year, especially with the way the chase rules are set up this year? Is that an opportunity for guys that haven't won, with the unique tracks coming up to win those races, or are the drivers that have been good already still going to be the favorites when we go to the places that are a little bit different?
Yeah, I'd say outside of the 2 road course races, your favorites would still be your favorites. I think the road course races open it up to a lot of drivers. You naturally think of the road course specialists, but the guys like myself and Casey Kane have won in Sonoma too. So, Sonoma I think really opens the door for a lot of people, and then fuel strategy can play a role in there and really take it into somebody else's hands that's willing to take a big risk. But Michigan, Pocono, Indy, I just feel like your teams that are running well now will prevail at those tracks. I think who runs well at Pocono will naturally run well at Indy. I think Michigan, even though it's a 2-mile track, still fits kind of the mile-and-a-half style setup, and should be a familiar face there. And I kind of lost for the other tracks we're going to. I guess New Hampshire's out there at some point, which is an important race with it being in the chase. So I just right now with how tough it's been to understand the new package, I think whoever's strong now will continue to be strong. We're deep enough into the season where people are kind of on their course and have the setups that that they think's best under their car, and you won't see a lot of change, I don't think. Everybody's kind of locked in, I guess, with their speed. Wow, it's hard to think as your voice keeps getting louder and louder in here. I hope I made sense, Gluck, as I got confused while I was talking.
All right, Jeff Hood, go ahead.
Hey, Jimmie, Jeff Hood of RacingToday.com. Matt Kenseth was in here earlier, and he talked about at the end of the 600 that he did try to block. He was just trying to slow your momentum, and it obviously didn't work. Was that irritating to you when he drove you low there on the back stretch at the end of the race? And is there any kind of unwritten rule between drivers of at what point in a race it's okay to block or not to block?
When it comes to the end of the race, everything's out the window at that point. And I don't expect somebody to be polite and courteous and give me all kinds of room. I hadn't been run down the straightaway low like that before, but once we got low enough where I try again. Once I got low enough down the back where I kind of knew this is about as far as I want to go, Matt kind of held his line at that point, and we're about off the track. But again, it's racing. It's the end of the 600. It's the end of a race, and you expect people to race you real hard. If it's right on your quarter panel or your door through the center of the turn, whatever it may be. So I wasn't totally shocked, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy just to go buy the 20 car. There's no way that was going to happen. But the unwritten rules really fall into the line of contact and where somebody bumps you. Going into the corner, that's that opens up a can of worms and usually leads to some hurt feelings and pushing and shoving, if not punches thrown, especially in the old days. Contact through the center of the corner or off, or even some bumping down the straightaway is fine. But the big unwritten rule is a contact on corner entry.
All right, Scott, go ahead.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times-Tribune in Pennsylvania. Jimmy, you guys are going to Pocono next week. As a past pole winner there, I was curious how you think the new qualifying format might play out there, and what are your thoughts 11 races in on the new format?
Yeah, qualifying there is, it's such a long lap that you usually end up kind of out of grip by the third turn. You leave pit road. You've got a long way to get around, get up to speed, and then complete that long lap that we might see a fair amount of fall off in speed just due to the tire getting more miles on it than what you would normally have. So that's kind of my first question that I have is how much fall off will there be? But it's the same for everyone, and there's enough room on that racetrack. You should be able to get a clean lap and not have to worry about traffic. So I think the format will work well. If you're fortunate enough to time it and get a tow down the front straightaway when somebody's finishing their lap and you're getting up to speed, that could be beneficial for you. So there's a couple things there to think about, and I think it's such a big track, it's tough to see it all from a fan perspective, but inside the car and the challenge that the crew chiefs face, there's a lot going on around that racetrack, and I know it's Chad's favorite racetrack to go to because all three corners are different, the loading is different, the banking's different. There are a bunch of tools and options to adjust the race car all the way around the track, and that's what Chad really enjoys about that place.
Okay.
Hey, Jimmy. John Butler with WGMD News. We've had some moisture here the last couple days, rain as well. Have you had a chance to check out the track and see if that's going to be a factor at all?
With the trucks being on track, they'll have it dusted off pretty good for us. I feel bad for their first 10 or 15 minutes of practice. The dirt that it's drug across the track makes this place pretty slick. So those guys are putting up with it right now, and it'll be in good shape once we get out there.
Any additional questions for Jimmy? Okay.
Hi, Joseph Wilkins, Speedway Digest. You've had a lot of success at Dover in the past, but what do you keep doing to adjust to the different aero packages that NASCAR presents at these tracks?
Really, at the end of the day, there's a feel, a sensation I look for to get around this racetrack, and we all have a feel and sensation we look for. It's just if it yields the speed and fits the track, and everything has worked well for me, for Chad, for the team, our equipment. This has just been a very strong track for us. So over time, as things change, I just pay attention to the feeling I'm looking for, and we're able to work through whatever challenges are thrown at us with different tires that are brought in, and then also generations of car. And then this is still the Gen 5 car, Gen 6 car. Where are we at these days? Gen 6 car, but a different rules package under it. So regardless of change, there's just some tracks that work well for you, and you're able to still find that feeling you're looking for regardless of circumstances.
Jimmy, Pat Pritzley with WTAL-TV in Harrisburg. You may have already answered this. We got in here late, but reports of your demise obviously were greatly exaggerated. But when you're coming off a win and you're coming to a track like this where you've been successful at, is the frame of mind like any different for you in terms of positive attitude, that vibe, good vibes, that kind of stuff?
Coming off of a race win, the Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday routine is very comfortable and nice, and everybody's smiling, good spring in their step. But truthfully, when we get here and check in, last week seems so far away. And then here in an hour or so, whenever we get on the racetrack for practice and NASCAR's timing and scoring goes hot again, it's completely out of your mind and you're focused on the present. So, we hold ourselves to, I know there's been a lot of pressure and expectations put on us as a team and a lot of things written about us with some long 12-race winless streak. But that pressure that people might see and suspect that might be wearing on us is nothing compared to the pressure we put on ourselves as a race team. We expect a lot out of ourselves, and we feel like wins got away from us this year that we weren't happy about, and we also feel that there were tracks that we went to and just had poor performances. So the win is great, but we kind of hold ourselves to that standard, and we're coming to one of our best tracks, and the expectations are very high for this weekend.
All right. Okay, we have a couple more questions. We'll start in the back and work our way up front.
Jimmy, Jim Fitzgerald, Race Fans Forever. Last September at Dover, you became the all-time winningest driver here. Last week, I believe you became the all-time winningest points race driver at Charlotte. Do those records mean anything special to you, or is it just another day at the office?
No, they definitely have a ton of meaning. When I look at the people that I'm tying or having the opportunity to beat for those great titles, it's the heroes of our sport. It's the guys that are put in the Hall of Fame. Look at their stats, what they've done for our sport, their household names. I mean, it is no small feat to tie or have the opportunity to beat these guys for races won at any track.
All right, if we can get okay, go ahead.
Steve Richards with PRN. Jimmy, when you talk about the pressure you put on yourselves, can you be more specific as far as, team meetings, or do you get snippy with each other, or what can you go into detail about the kind of pressure you guys put on yourselves?
All the above. Depending on the day and the point of the day, it changes. But to start the process, the amount of time that's put into our race cars and the setups and the preparation that goes into it that starts the week, and then as the weekend unfolds, if you have speed, you're okay, and it's easy to not be snippy and to maintain whatever mindset that works, but still the eye on the prize. If you're not where you want to be, you've put, especially Chad and my group of guys, put in so much time to come to the racetrack and be prepared that, in a way, their feelings are hurt. I mean, it's not fun to work so hard and then to be on the right side of the board in practice or qualifying, to not make it to the second round of qualifying. That stuff just eats us up because we work way too hard to be in that position. But the sport isn't easy. This garage area is so tough and strong that it happens. And when it does, you just got to pull your boots up and get to work and work harder.
And what was the week like after the win? How much different was it this week?
It's been good. There's been certainly a little spring in everyone's step, and then really expanding on the sensations I had in the race car during the event, what I liked about the car, what I didn't like about the car, going through practice, qualifying, practice, race, and just seeing what put speed in the car, what took speed out of the car, and really trying to help last weekend's performance plow a road for us and where we need to go with this new rules package.
Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy, it's well documented that you like to run to stay in shape, and I know I've seen you run around some of the racetracks, and so this is kind of like your home away from home on the weekends. Is it difficult when you encounter fans and you're out, you've got a goal in mind, they want you to pose for pictures or autographs? Is it hard to cope with that?
It depends. I mean, most of them got to catch me first, and they're usually not sober enough or in shape enough to do that. So it just depends. I mean, I'll get up early at sunrise, and that's usually the most fun, is to run up and down Talladega Boulevard. Texas is good for it. There's a variety of tracks where an early morning run, it's more entertaining than it is a workout. I mean, you'll see people halfway in their tents and still passed out in lawn chairs and all kinds of good things. So in the afternoons, I'll run this afternoon, and usually people see me coming, they think, and then as I go by, they go, "Hey, Jimmy, is that you?" And I'll just wave and give them a thumbs up or something and keep on digging. So guys on bikes and golf carts, they can run you down, but they're usually pretty good about it.
Any additional questions for Jimmy? Okay, a few more. We'll start with Scott and then go to Kelly.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times again. You look at this this stretch in the schedule, Charlotte, Dover, Pocono. You've had a lot of success at those three tracks. Any particular reason why? Because obviously the three tracks are so very different. What has been the key to your success at this part of the schedule at those three tracks?
Yeah, that's a good question. They are totally different racetracks. I'd have to say they're probably the most technical tracks we go to. Setup is key. Communication between driver and crew chief is key. I mean, Charlotte and Dover, you have such loading characteristics as you're on the straightaway and kind of lunge off into the corner that you can draw some similarities between those two tracks. Pocono, God, it's so different. I don't know how to even draw a parallel other than it's tough to get around. Dover isn't easy, Charlotte isn't easy, and neither is Pocono.
All right, Kelly, go ahead.
Kelly Crandall from Popular Speed, hiding behind the cameras, Jimmy. We've joked about your long winless streak, and for years it was, Jimmy wins too much, and then it became, why hasn't Jimmy won this year? So after last week, and just curious what the feedback has been, maybe perhaps when you've been out and about this week and on social media, what have you seen from maybe fans and your competitors?
I think a lot of joking about the long winless streak being over. That's been the common theme amongst friends, social media, and about. So just having fun with it and trying to remind myself that it's a backhanded compliment, I guess, that we've done so well as a team and have been fortunate enough to win a lot and win often that we put ourselves in this corner. So I'm glad I don't have to answer those questions any longer, and we're looking forward to winning again soon, and especially later in the year, winning often.
All right, Jimmy, we'll end with one final question. You have 8 monster trophies from Dover. Do you have them all in one spot, or do you have them spread out, considering they're one of the largest trophies you can win?
No, they're all in one spot. I have a great man cave, this big warehouse, and I've got a huge bar that I restored, and it's got a big top shelf on it, and I think 5 of them are up there, and then others are scattered about through this kind of pub area that I set up inside my warehouse where I have some old cars and stuff that I've collected. So they stand out. They're a big trophy, and with Miles standing there holding the race car, they certainly draw a lot of attention.
All right, well, good luck this weekend. We thank you for your time today.
Cool. Thank you.